Good morning, all of you. There is no need of having any kind of further introduction about me, and we had many classes related to our first history chapter. It was about French Revolution and some of the facts you already learned, and the next topic that you want to learn from this chapter is the outbreak of French Revolution. As per the last class, you learned the outbreak of French Revolution. The Louis XVI was about to increase the tax, and there were certain issues, and the people started reacting against the dictatorship administration of France, right? And they met at Versailles, and they started to write some letters. Around 4,000 letters were wrote by the people of France and sent to Louis XVI, and there was a meeting. The meeting was about increasing the tax, and there was a system in France. The system was, what was that? As per the old rhyme, I hope all of you are remembering what is old rhyme. Old rhyme means the administration which was held before Louis XVI in France was called the old rhyme. As per that, if a ruler in France who needs to increase the tax, he should definitely call all the members of the French society together and must have a discussion. And with the consent of these three, he or she would be able to pass the tax law or to implement those kind of laws in France. But 1789, as per the financial conditions of France, the economic background or the economic foundation of France has completely had a shake, because he had given certain kind of financial assistance for the 13 colonies of United States of America, right? So the bankruptcy or the debt trap which was in France increased. As a result of that, he decided to increase the tax, but at the same time he wanted to think something about the common people of France. He wanted to maintain a humanitarian consideration. He had never followed such a humanitarian consideration for these third estate people, since they were having the sound portion of the total population of France. They were not getting a slight kind of comfortable life in France. So now they are on the mood of reacting against the master, which means Louis XVI. Okay. So as per the last class, we discussed the second paragraph. They send certain letters, 4,000 letters to whom? To Louis XVI. And why? Why you are not allowing us to participate in this kind of decision making process? Since we are also a part of this country, why are you not allowing us to join in these kind of actions? We also have the right to join in these kind of activities. They were started to demand these kind of things towards the ruler. Remember, these common people had no voice of making such kind of arguments against this master a few years back. Now they have received a power of reacting against their masters. Okay. See, third paragraph. We are moving to the third paragraph. Third paragraph, I have reduced the points into two things. It is voting and thinkers, which means the third paragraph is dealing us. Under outbreak of French Revolution, the third paragraph is telling us that there was a system of election in France. As I said just before, if Louis XVI is going to introduce a new tax system, or else if he is going to introduce any new policies or schemes for his nation, three estate we call clergy, nobles and third estate, the three estates representatives need to be there in the hall. These three estate members must be present in the hall, and they have to make a discussion. Only after the discussion, the ruler capable for starting the or taking the action or taking any decision related to that. Okay. So what happened, there was a system. As per the system, each layers of the French society, or each stratas of the French society, or each social categories of the French society had single vote. First estate had one vote, second estate had one another vote, and third estate had the rest. So three groups were having three votes. Ruler and the nobles were the same category, which means they were having a proper link. Okay. So whatever actions, whatever bills are going to be passed in the French parliament, first estate and second estate vote will be towards the ruler. What the ruler asks, that will be supported by whom? The first estate and second estate. Third estate also have one vote. With this one vote, if they are opposing, majority votes will be considered for passing a bill. For example, in Indian Parliament, if a new bill need to be passed, okay, majority members, how are their support? If majority members are supporting the bill, of course that bill will become a law. And at the same time, majority of the members who are against or opposing this law, that won't be a law, that won't be a bill. Am I correct? The same manner in French society, take a look at here. In French society, three votes were there for taking decisions. Two votes for clergy and nobles. So the ruler is going to take a action. Ruler is going to increase the tax. Clergy will definitely support whom? Ruler's decision. Nobles will definitely support whom? Clergy's decision. Common people will never support the ruler's decision, because all the burden are going to be there on the shoulders of these common people, my dears. So common people, when they were sent out of the hall, they wrote some letters given to the ruler, and in that letter they mentioned that, what did they mention, you know? What did they mention? Let me tell you. They mentioned that the three voting system, which means every members of the three estate should have to get single votes, which means if 300 members are there in the first estate, that 300 members should have to get the right of casting vote. If in the noble 300 members are there, that 300 members need to get the chance of casting vote. And common estate, large number of people were there. If all the number of people in this third estate gets a chance to cast the vote, majority will be from the side of common estate. Of course, the ruler's decision making capacity will be going away. I hope it is clear. There were only one vote for each sections, each stratus, which means social stratas or social divisions. Clergy had one vote, nobles had another vote, common estate had one another vote. If a decision is going to be taken by the ruler, clergy and noble, they will give their one vote to whom? The ruler. And then the remaining vote is for whom? The common people. They also have one vote. With their one vote, no use at all to block the decision making capacity of the ruler. Here let me remind you a matter. Third paragraph of Outbreak of French Revolution is telling you that, what does it tell? It is telling you that third estate started to demand that the whole members of the first and second and third estate should have to get the voting rights. Only then the problems of the France can be reduced, the problems can be solved. Do you think after making these kind of demands by the common people, Louis XVI will be accepting all these things to the people? Nothing. Louis XVI, he did not mind at all. He never turned towards the common people. Oh my dears, you demanded this much, so that, so happy, I will give you all this. No, never. Okay. Soon after the demands made by the common people of France for giving the right of casting vote for each and every individuals of every sections of French society was not accepted by whom? The Louis XVI. Remember and I'm reminding you that how dare he was. Who? Me? No. You? No. Then Louis XVI. That is what I told you, my dears. He was not having an humanitarian consideration. Humanitarian consideration means that he has to think about the people. Since they were working hard, they need to get some kind of help. They need to get some kind of support. It was not given by the ruler. If a country has a ruler, the ruler should have to maintain a balance for making a better situation for the common people. But as a ruler, Louis XVI was a utter failure for all these matters. Means considering the basic conditions of the common people, he was not a capable person. He always tried to make luxuries for the first estate and the second estate. This is what in the third paragraph under outbreak of revolution. We are moving to the next paragraph number 4. Paragraph number 4, we need to remember on 20th June, when common people, they sent out of the hall where the discussion was going on about the improvement of tax by Louis XVI and the rest categories. It was not for the betterment of the common people, it was for the decision for increasing tax in France in the year of 1789 was mainly for humiliating the people. It's mainly for pushing them into a big trench of difficulty, into a big trench. Already they were in a trench, they were trying to come up out of this, but they were not getting a chance to come out of this. Once they try to climb up and come on the surface, again the ruler will push them back. This is what happened. So now, 20th June, they came, and who came? The common people gathered over Versailles. Versailles was a place in Paris. 1789, June 20, they came over there and they decided to meet over a tennis court. There was a tennis court. Over that tennis court, these all people from the third estate, they gathered and they made a discussion between them. We should not have this kind of living standard in our country. We are living such a struggle life. We should definitely make some changes in it. So for helping us, nobody will come from the first and second estate. If we need to get some relaxation in our life, we people have to work hard. Only then we would be able to get some kind of relaxation in our life. So they decided it. They decided, who decided? The common people. They met at tennis court in Versailles in Paris, and the meeting intention was to set a proper decision. And from here, we need to think about our future. And from here, if we are dispersing without any decision, we would have to face all the consequences of improvement of taxes. So they decided to have a good meeting over Versailles, and there was a tennis court. And as a result of the meeting which was held over the tennis court, it is been generally known as tennis court oath. What is it? Tennis court oath. So tennis court oath was done by the common people of France. Did you get me? Did you get me? Who had done this tennis court oath? By you or me? No. Who had? Who had done it? Who had done it? The common people of France had done this. See, an interesting fact in this meeting was, two important or prominent personalities were there along with the common people. As you know that the common people, they gathered at Versailles in Paris over a tennis court. As a result of that, it was called tennis court oath, and people had many decisions. People had decided many things from that tennis court oath. So one of the most important thing that we need to remember from paragraph number 4 was tennis court oath and the people's decision towards the master or the dictatorship or the autocratic administration. Okay. So the interesting fact, two prominent personalities were there. Mirabeau was actually from the clergy category and Abesius was from the noble category, which means these two people, even though they involved in the first and second estates had nothing to worry. Everything were there in front of them and all the privileges were enjoyed by these categories of people. So from such a category, why did these two members came and join with this? That is an interesting question. Why did Mirabeau and Abesius came from the privileged society to such a low standard or low status society? The important thing related to that or these persons are both of them felt that clergy and nobles are not at all taking care of these common people. Clergy and nobles are always concentrated about themselves. Since they were the rich category of the French society, since they were having all the social and political and economic privileges in the society, these people need to be cared. These people need to give some kind of attention towards the common people. But it was not held at all in France, so that Abesius and Mirabeau had an intention to support the common people. Did you get me? So they came along with the common people only because their mentality towards the common people was supreme. We should have to give a big salute for these two people. Okay. Because they were having all the living status and all the social categories were supporting them. Avoiding all those kind of privileges, now they are joining with the common people. That is somewhat interesting. Okay, so here, when Mirabeau and Abesius were also joined along with these common people, they got inspired with many writers or thinkers from the French society. The last class we mentioned about their names. Can you please tell me some of the social thinkers who helped deeply for the improvement of the French society? Rousseau was one person. Montesquieu was another person, right? Rousseau, Montesquieu, John Locke, these all were the members who had worked so strongly, so bravely for the betterment of the common people. Along with the thinkers, Mirabeau and Abesius were also joined with these common people. The enthusiasm to react against the masters, or the spirit which attained by the common people was supreme. They started to question. What did they question? Privileges were questioned. What is privilege? What is privilege? Let me tell you one example for that privilege. When you are walking on the road, a person who has seen you and he will not be giving you a mind or means you are not a celebrity or an important person, you are a common person. Then my example is continuing. Dulquer Salman, he is famous. Why did he get the privilege? Before he comes to the screen, before he comes to the film industry, he was well aware by the people. Why? He had attained a social privilege. By birth, he got a social privilege. What was the privilege received by Dulquer Salman? By birth. that he is the son of Mammootty, right? Who is Mammootty? A celebrity and a best actor, right? The same way you are telling tomorrow onwards that I am Dulquer Salman, you are not getting any kind of privilege, right? You have a privilege, of course, but you don't have the privilege like what I said in that example. Why I'm telling this Dulquer Salman and Mammootty in the French Revolution? You will be wondering whether why this person is telling all this. French society, come to that example you keep in your mind. Okay, French society, by birth people had attained certain kind of privileges, which means the person who take birth in a clergy family, by birth he would be respected by everybody. A person who took birth in noble category, he also will be getting a supreme support from the rest of the society. Yes, he took birth in a noble, we should have to respect him. Yes, he is the son of a clergy, a ruler. Okay, so that we should have to. So, I told you some of the quotings made by Louis XVI, that I have been appointed by God so that God has the right of questioning me. Look at that. That is what the quoting, that is what the mentality of the Louis XVI. So these privileges by birth, if a child who is taking birth in a common category, what will be the right of that person? Low social status. Is it? By birth, in a common category, a child is taking birth, he is getting or she is getting what? A low social status. But at the same time, same type of child who is taking birth in a noble category or clergy category, socially they are getting such a better support from the society. Why these common categories children are not getting such a privilege by birth? That is what questioned by the common category. There should not be in France, there should not be such kind of social privileges. Nobody should give an entertain or nobody should give such a support to these kind of social privileges which was practicing in France. That should not be entertained. That should not be motivated. Questioned by whom? Who questioned? Not by me, not by you. Then the common people of France, they started to question the masters, that who gave you the right of making decisions? Who gave you the right of making such a privilege in the French society? Why don't we get such a kind of respect? Why don't we get such a kind of luxuries? We should also get that kind of power. That is what actually questioned by the common people. So that is in the paragraph number 4. Okay. So I hope you are following me. Then we are moving to the 5th paragraph. 5th paragraph, National Assembly were busy. National Assembly were busy. Let me tell you what is National Assembly. National Assembly simply means that when the people of the common estate were sent out of the Versailles palace, when there was a discussion related to the meeting of improving the tax, these people had gathered over a tennis court, decided that from here we will be dispersing after taking a proper decision about our future. They decided. So the gathering, they selected some leaders. The leaders would decide how the group have to act. The leaders will decide what will be our action plans, how we should react against the masters, will be decided by the leaders who had been selected from the mass gathered over the tennis court. So those group selected another group to decide and direct the mass can be called the National Assembly. National Assembly was busy with varieties of activities, my dears. Once they selected as the National Assembly, they had much responsibilities on their shoulders. They wanted to work sincerely for the betterment of the common category of people. As a result of that, or for that purpose, they were being selected by the common people. They were busy with their strategy formation. Who were busy? The common people's leaders were busy with, the National Assembly was busy with what? The strategies to be planned for removing the dictatorship administration from France. At that time, food scarcity. Remember, this common estate people, they were doing their activities, and through their activities they were getting some kind of money, and that amount they had used for having their food, essential purposes. Once these old men, old men in France, especially in the common category, old men gathered at Versailles tennis court. They gathered there and they decided many things, and they announced many things. We will be dispersing our meeting away from here. Only once we get a surety from the ruler that some of the demands made by the common people will be accepted. But the financial conditions of the common people were very poor. Financial conditions were so sad. They were not concentrating to the agricultural lands for the production. Now they are fighting with their masters. Now they are not on the land for producing. Food shortage. In France, when the common category of people decided to react against their masters, they could not concentrate their production procedures. As a result of that, the entire common estate people or the third estate people faced a difficulty or a misery. It was they could not satisfy their basic amenities or their basic essentials. Food was not sufficient there. You please imagine the situation where there is no food. Now we all are blessed with sufficient types of foods, right? Even though you had money, if there is nothing in the market, money cannot be taken as food. French society, the common estate people, when they decided to fight against their masters, they had no money. Along with that, they had no food. And in the markets, food products were there, some food products were there, but the traders, they kept it as hoard, H-O-A-R-D. Hoard means they secretly kept the food products, and they decided to keep those food products as secret. When the days are going ahead, the price of the food product will be increasing. Traders, they were keeping the products as secretly. Once a person who meet a trader and ask, do you have this bread? Trader will say, no, I don't have, it's finished. Then the next day the same person is going again and asking, is there bread? Then he will be telling, yes, one packet is there, but you have to pay 100 rupees. Normally for one packet bread it was 10 rupees, and within one day it increased to 100. Then the traders, almost all the traders, they had much kind of products like bread with them, but they kept as hoard or they kept as secret. And once the days were covered, the price of the bread was increased, but the income of the common people were very less to compete with the rising price of bread. So they waited for a long. And in the beginning, we have to remember on 14th July, the chapter we started with 14th July, there was a rumor, the ruler was going to send the troop towards the common people, right? The rumor was spread and the common people gathered, around 7,000 people gathered together and marched towards a Bastille prison. And Bastille prison was the despotic sign of the ruler, and people had lot of emotion to destroy those Bastille prison. Are you remembering all those? Now you connect. When the National Assembly was busy with their activity, food production in France had reduced drastically. The price of bread had increased since bread was their staple food. The price of the bread was increased and people could not afford the situation. Along with that, there was a rumor too, the ruler is going to attack them. Then they may definitely come forward. That is what happened. That is what happened. When the price of the bread was increasing in a dramatic manner, when people from the common estate could not afford the price of this bread, they started to react. Those time there was a rumor too. The rumor was king is going to exploit or to make to decide to send a troop towards the common people. So nothing to lose for these common people. They need not to care anything because their entire life was in struggle. Then why should they have worry? They came on the road and they went to the Bastille and destroyed the Bastille prison. That is what we learned. One more side for that. When they destroyed this Bastille prison, they went to the markets. They went to the markets, asked the traders in the same tune, do you have bread? They said with the same tune, no. Then started attacking the shops. After demolishing the Bastille prison, common people marched towards the market and asked them, but they replied no. But nothing was acceptable to the common people. They demolished the shops and the breads, whatever goods which was kept in the storehouses or warehouses of the shops were taken out and equally shared to the common people and provided sufficient food product to them. This is what in the 5th paragraph. Okay, I think all of you could understand. So repeatedly I am telling you the matter that you have to read the textbook very sincerely, and I am sure that you are doing all those, and some more essential work that you have to do. Since you are in 9th standard, many questions will be asked from the textbook itself as an objective. Remember, 20 marks are objective for you. So that you have to read the chapter very carefully. So once in a week you are getting essays. So that read the parts that we have discussed very carefully, and once you find any difficulty, please call me or send a message to me for clarifying it. I'll be helping you. So that's all for today. Thank you so much.